All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our first interview of these coaches interviews. And I'd like to welcome in Elaina Enich, who's our brand new girls lacrosse head coach, starting her first year with us in that capacity. Elaina has been with us as an assistant coach the last several seasons, but just getting started with her first year as a head coach, like I said. And first of all, Elaina, thanks so much for coming on and agreeing to do this. I know it's something that we kind of teased a little bit yesterday and brought the idea kind of out to see if coaches would be interested. And there was a ton of great response and a lot of coaches interested in coming on. So thanks for being the very first.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. And being the first it'll be fun.
All right, we'll see how this thing goes. So first and foremost, how you hanging in there during the layoff, and what are you doing to pass the time? I mean, I'm assuming that you're working a little bit as well, just in your typical kind of day job. But what do you have going on?
Yeah, so it's been quite the adjustment. It's no different from everybody else. Working from home and being away from people has probably been the biggest adjustment, being a people person and always in constant contact with a bunch of different people on a day-to-day basis. But other than the regular day job, I'm working out a lot more, making myself do the things that I typically don't like to do during the typical week and not having the excuse of being extremely busy. So making myself go out and run, and my apartment's never been cleaner. So things like that have been keeping me pretty busy these days.
Great. Well, good. I mean, I know a lot about you just, through our experience together, but, maybe people out there don't. So just tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your background, both personally and from the lacrosse aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a lifer at New Albany, K through 12. After I graduated, I went on to play lacrosse at the University of Cincinnati and then came back and had the opportunity to be an assistant coach under my head coach in high school, which was a great experience. And it was really fun to be able to get back to the program in different ways than I was originally used to in being on the coaching side of things. Outside of lacrosse, started in 7th grade through NALA. And then before that, I actually did Taekwondo for 7 years. So I'm a second degree black belt. So that's something a lot of people don't know about me, but that was always involved in some kind of sports and being athletic growing up.
That's cool. So word to the wise, don't mess with, so yeah.
Yeah.
So being from New Albany, like you said, and being a lifer, how do you feel about being a head coach at your alma mater?
I mean, I don't think I can really put into words what it means and how big of an honor it truly is to be able to take on this new role for a program that I personally went through myself. It's an extremely huge honor in the community that surrounds it and what the program means through the history of it. There really is no greater honor.
That's great. Well, we're super excited about having you in that role, and certainly being from New Albany, you have a great connection to the program and having gone through it. And I know that a lot of people were excited to have an alum back into the program and leading our program. So being a first year head coach, I mean, how are you feeling about taking on that role, and what have you been doing from the time that you were selected to kind of where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the time that I was announced the head coach, I think it's a common misconception that the second that you become a coach, that your experience and your knowledge is end all be all, and you don't have the opportunity to grow either. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And recognizing that from the beginning, it's no different than what the athletes go and what we expect of them on the field. Mm-hmm. So since I was named coach, I've been making sure that I'm getting connected with coaches that I've had previously and talking about how they've handled certain situations. And being from New Albany and having one of my coaches, shout out Johnny Ulrey, he was one of my coaches as well, and he's really helped mentor me going through this new transition from a player to assistant coach to head coach, and what it means, and not only helping with that guidance, but challenging me in the perspectives and the mindsets that I have, as well as my staff. So it's been fun.
Great. Yeah, a little shout out there to Coach Ulrey, and hopefully we'll have him on here, get him in front of the camera as well. So we'll have a chance to talk to him later on down the road. But obviously, this isn't the way that you wanted your first year as a head coach to kick off. Certainly isn't the way that any of us really wanted,
Right.
this spring season to kick off either. But tell us a little bit about your team, kind of how they're looking, and what really makes you excited about this particular group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not an ideal situation under any circumstance. But with this group of kids, I mean, I've never seen a level of determination and a willingness and that hunger to make their own mark on this program's history.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that is really exciting, looking forward to the potential of the 2020 season and moving forward with them. And being a very young team and having that determination that these kids have shown us through the couple of weeks that we have had with them, it's a pretty dangerous combination to have. So we're really looking forward to getting them on the field.
Well, we're looking forward to hopefully seeing them on the field as well. And, obviously the girls lacrosse program has been one of the most, competitive on-field competitive teams that we've had historically at New Albany. And certainly we'll want to get the girls out there and see what they have for this season as well. I know you guys came in, highly ranked in the Midwest rankings, and you had a heck of a schedule to, go along with that. And so you were going to go out, and host some teams and put your team out on the road to, to back up those rankings, and hopefully we get that opportunity. So just some fun questions. I mean, tell us a little bit about what you were like in high school. I mean, being an Eagle back in the day, what was Elaina like in high school?
Oh, Elaina back in high school, I mean, I was the typical athlete. Everything that I did I don't think there was a Friday that I didn't have my Steelers jersey on, or like wearing some kind of New Albany lacrosse or field hockey or something, repping whatever team that I was on at the time. And I was just that dedicated student athlete to the sport, and all my classes kind of laid low other than that. And everything really evolved around my classes and more so sports.
I know being in Columbus, there's a lot of Browns and Bengals fans out there. So
Tough.
we all
It's tough
got a
for
little
them.
bit nauseous hearing about that Steeler jersey thing, but we can look past that. That's fine. What's your favorite food? What do you like to eat?
So that's tough. I wish I was a pickier eater, but I'm not, unfortunately. But if there's any type of barbecue, that's my go-to. You can't go wrong with some good wings or some ribs.
What's your go-to BBQ spot here in Columbus?
City Barbecue is always good, and it never disappoints. But Route 62 is also very good.
Yeah, nice. All right, so if you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room, so your walk-up song that described you or really set the tone for your day or a situation for you, what would that be?
My favorite songs tend to switch with whatever mood I'm in, but one song in particular, going back to the Steelers days, that always kind of brings me back to a great time, and going back to games with my dad would have to be Renegade by Styx. It's just always one of those songs that it just starts off and it just takes me back to a place in time that's always exciting and always gets me going. So that'd definitely be my one.
All right, cool. Well, I'll have that queued up the next time we have a meeting. So,
yeah.
Just to finish up, I mean, is there anything you'd like to say to your team or the community at large, just, during this period of time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, other than the communication that we've had of remaining positive, I think it's really important to remember that just because we have this distance between us now, that doesn't mean that that's an excuse not to be together. We know that right now we're normally with each other 24/7 in some way, shape, or form, whether that's at school or at the local Starbucks or whatever it may be. But with all of the different tools that we have, FaceTime, Zoom, GroupMe, whatever it is, that those media channels, we're really able to stay together and remain positive and remain as one and kind of keep everything as normal as possible during these times. So just stay positive, stay together. So at the end of the day, we're still a team, even though there's a little bit of distance that separates us right now.
All right, cool. Well, hey, thanks again so much for the time. And it sounds like you got some cleaning to do or whatever, so let's get back to it. So I really appreciate you taking some time to hang out.
Yeah, thanks again.